Ladies and gentlemen, we're standing by for further word from Honolulu, and we expect to rejoin them in just a moment.
On December 7, 1941, the United States Naval Base in Pearl Harbor was bombed by the Imperial Japanese Navy at 7:48 a.m. 188 U.S. aircraft were destroyed, 2,403 Americans were killed, and 1,178 were wounded. The Americans were so outraged by this bombing that they declared war the next day. This is World War II. Japan bombed Pearl Harbor because they wanted to keep the U.S. Pacific Fleet, a naval base in Hawaii, from interfering with Japan's action to take an empire in Southeast Asia. Due to the United States' great disapproval of Japan's attempt to imperialize and ending their oil and iron trade with the country, this made the United States a threat to Japan's goal. Japan hoped that by bombing Pearl Harbor, it would devastate the American Pacific Fleet to an extent that it would not be able to attack while Japan invaded Asian countries such as Malaysia, the Philippines, and Dutch East Indies. The most common answer to, could the war against Japan been avoided, is no, because Japan bombed the U.S. naval base, which made Americans feel that it was necessary to start a war. But considering the events that happened prior to the bombing, such as the U.S. imposing embargoes on Japan, in which the Japanese relied 80% of oil and iron on the U.S., the U.S. planning to have a war with Japan called the War Plan Orange around the 1920s, the year between the First and Second World Wars, and the U.S. helping the Chinese military against Japan. In a quote made by Admiral Yamamoto, a fleet admiral and commander-in-chief of the Imperial Japanese Navy, says, "Should hostilities once break out between Japan and the United States, it is not enough that we take Guam and the Philippines, nor even Hawaii and San Francisco. To make victory certain, we would have to march into Washington and dictate the terms of peace in the White House. I wonder if our politicians, among whom armchair arguments about war are being glibly bandied about in the name of state politics, have confidence as to the final outcome and are prepared to make the necessary sacrifices." This quote was said prior to the attack on Pearl Harbor, which shows that Japan already had the initiative to attack the U.S. under any circumstance so they can conquer countries, and Admiral Yamamoto was aware that this would start a war. Therefore, World War II could not have been avoided.
Yeah, gotta find my way. Yeah.